Hi there, guys. So I'm gonna try to keep it short and sweet. I'd actually done this. I was doing this video, got a phone call, and forgot to hit play again. So I was sitting here just talking. But you guys, I want to talk about this hands-off protest that we just had on April 5th, and I want to talk about something that I noticed, and I'm pretty sure many of you probably noticed the same thing, but I want to talk about how during that protest, tad bit of background, we already know so many black people have been talking all over social media about black people sitting it out, black people not going, black people not participating, and all of the reasons why that I don't need to get into right here because we know why. You know what I'm saying? And some people are beginning to understand why. There's others who I think are just just really don't care and just really feel like, you have an obligation to go or whatever, and are trying to use our not going as, oh, you're being un-American, and, oh, well, you need to get in the fight too or whatever, and we need all hands on deck or whatever. But, we already know the history in America of black protesting. That it's what we've done. We've always been on the front line. We've always been the one marching with signs and all of these things. And for the most part, in my opinion, I don't think a whole lot has changed for us. And if it has changed some kind of way, it wasn't never really to benefit us so much. Other races of people, um, usually the majority people, white people, have been the ones who have benefited the most from our protesting, our marching, our dog bites, our being thrown in jail, our beatings and so forth. It was always like a show. You know what I'm saying? We go out, we do the hard work, get hurt, killed, or unalived rather, and still don't get the benefit from it. Or if the benefit does get passed, we don't get the benefit. They get the benefit, you know. So anyway, we know all the trickery. We know all of the things that have historically happened in America concerning us and protesting and other groups that allow that to happen. And so we black people had we for the most part, there were some out there, very few, but there were some out there who went, but the majority of us stayed home, and we stayed home for a reason. We already knew what was going to happen. We know historically what is always happening, so we don't have to get back into that. But that next day I woke up, and the first thing on my mind was, and I don't, well, I was about to say I don't really know why. I do know why, but the first thing on my mind was, man, nobody got mowed down by a car. Like nobody got ran over. Like groups of people didn't get run over by motorcycles or whatever. Um, because we know that that's one of the things that happens a lot of time, especially when there's black people protesting, or black people, even like really big black events and so forth. There's always some type of violence. Somebody shoots or whatever, or again, like I said, so often, some car just randomly mows down a big group of people. And the one that comes to mind, now that happens all the time, but the one that really comes to mind to me real quick is really what happened earlier this year in New Orleans. And that's just one example. But these are the things that happen, and I thought about that, and I'm like, man, now that happened. No police really got called out. There were no rubber bullets. There were no tear gas being sprayed. There were no fights among the protesters and the cops. Wasn't no bottles thrown, and all of these things that you've seen at so many protests, especially where Black people are trying to stand up for our rights and so forth, all across America. You didn't see any of that. You know what I'm saying? And so of course they label it as peaceful, and I admit it was peaceful. But I also have to bring up the point, of what I just said. I think and I know it was because we were not out there in large numbers. Because I really believe, and like many of us believe, that's why we didn't go. The fact that if we had been, yeah, it would have been so much more different. I honestly believe that they were ready. I think they were ready. But anyway, um that's one of the things I thought about. Um and here's the other thing. I thought about how seeing all those American citizens out there all across America with their signs and so forth. What I thought about was, this was called a hands off protest. This was literally to tell the Trump administration and Elon Musk, hands off of our Social Security, hands off of our food stamps, our Social Security, our the veteran benefits, and all of these social programs and other um, things that it affects. Um, Hands off of that. You know what I'm saying? It's ours. It's our money. We put that. We spent time working all these years for the Social Security. The veterans deserve their benefits from sacrificing their lives and so forth. Children and disabled and elderly people need low income people need that Medicaid. They need that insurance. Literally, we need universal health care, but that's a whole nother fight. Um, but hands off. And so, one of the beautiful things, and I think it's a blessing in disguise, because I don't know how many more protests there are going to be. From what I read all across social media, things are going to really heat up this summer. But um, I really think that as we Black people continue to sit back and let the ones who literally brought this to pass, that voted him in, they need to be the ones out there on the front line. And I'm talking about the ones who literally voted him in. You know what I'm saying? All white people didn't vote him in. All Hispanics and so forth, they didn't all vote him in, but a huge number did. And at the end of the day, we know the whole real true backstory of why they wanted to make America great again. You know what I'm saying? At the expense of us, which is how it's always been. But this time it affected them so fast and so clearly that it's like, oh hell no, we can't do this. Oh no, we did not vote for this. You know what I'm saying? And funny thing about it though, you did. And I'm talking about all those who voted for him, black and white. You know what I'm saying? You did. You absolutely did. And those who sat out, yeah, you did. And so um I thought I've been sitting here thinking to myself, I said, I think it's a good thing that we Black people didn't, because what it shows now, because the attack is always, oh, Black people on food stamps, oh, Black people getting the welfare, oh, Black people are sitting around being lazy and getting Medicaid and food stamps, and Black people getting all the Social Security, disability, and lazy or whatever, and we have these historical these historical stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? They still go on today. Amazingly, as it may be, they still go on today, and many of them are even pushed by other black people. You know what I'm saying? Take for example food stamps. The narrative around food stamps that black women are sitting around making babies and sitting on getting food stamps and welfare and all, like, what's so crazy about that is that the particular narrative that they are talking about was a narrative that was way back in the 60s and 70s. Food stamp reform has changed so many times in this country. Like so many times. You cannot just sit down and get food stamps and continue to make babies, and you can't do that anymore. That's been gone. Like, that has been gone. It does not profit you. It didn't profit them back then, but it didn't profit any woman in today's economy to sit around, have a bunch of babies, and get food stamps. Like that, the narrative, first of all, was never true, but it's especially not true now. The time limit for food stamp, you have to keep going back and reapplying, like every maybe 3 to however many months, but it's as short as 3 months that you have to continue to go and get recertified again, because I need to know if you made $5 more than what you made last month, you're gonna get kicked off, you know. So they've changed that. They also have changed, and this may differ from state to state, mind you, but the one of the other really big changes is that you can't just sit up and have 9, 10, 15 babies or whatever, and you just gonna keep getting $500 every time you get a don't work like that. There's a cap on them children. I don't know, because I only ever had two in my life, but I don't know what that cap is, but I know that there's a cap. You're not gonna just keep getting for more and more and more for babies. You know what I'm saying? If we look at the birth rate, for especially many black single women nowadays, that stuff is going down, and it's been going down. So it's a narrative, and it boils my blood, not because I'm a black woman or because I'm getting the assistance, which I'm not, but it really makes me so very, very upset because the narrative is so old and outdated. Like, why are y'all still running with that narrative? And what's crazy about it again, and this is not at all about black men or crapping on black men. I get that a lot, and believe me, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just making a point. Um, it goes for everybody, but the reason that I bring it up about black men is because it was many of those same black men whose mom probably was a single mom or living in the projects or living, whatever, back in the day, not rich or whatever, getting food stamps, probably getting some Medicaid for them and whatever else. And you know, that it wasn't that way. The narrative that they keep trying to push. Most women getting food stamps you got to go to work, men and women now. But since they like to push it on black women, you got to, many times you can't even get food stamps anymore unless you go to work, unless you do work searches. And I brought up black men because you all should be the ones that know the most that your mama still probably had to work and get food stamps and whatever else she may have gotten. Like my mom, again, I'm a 70s baby. And so way back then, my mama still had to go to work. My mom worked 6 days a week cleaning white people's homes. You know what I'm saying? That's what she did. And we didn't have a lot, but she got food stamps and she got a welfare check and she got the Medicaid and the whole thing, back then. And, but she still had to go to work. There still were many, many times when the food didn't last. The food didn't stretch over. I remember my mom had to go, and there was this Chinese supermarket back in the day. in our neighborhood. And this man was nice enough. He knew my mom, he knew all of us. And he was nice enough to give my mom food on credit. And then she would pay for it, when she got paid. But that was because the food stamps wasn't lasting. Food stamp, it was four of us. It was three boys and me. You know what I'm saying? And the food wasn't lasting. You know what I'm saying? Whatever little welfare check she got to help pay the bills or whatever, and the low wage that she was getting by cleaning up white people's houses or whatever, it wasn't no big huge money, which is another narrative that is often spewed. Like black women are sitting somewhere in a lawn chair in the projects, with a fan and sipping on some Kool-Aid or something because she just got it so good. We got to stop that. We really got to stop that. So, with me saying that, what this protest does and did, and what it shows, is that it's showing the ones who are really out there. We know white people were not out there fighting for us and our rights. No, they were saying hands off their food stamps, hands off their welfare, hands off their um, Medicaid and their veteran benefits and their Social Security, because we're not the only ones that get it. You know what I'm saying? Hispanic people get it. Asian people get. Many people that need those services get it, of all races, and maybe with it showing that they were out there protesting hands off Trump administration and Elon Musk of these benefits that we need. Maybe somewhere down the line, it will begin to switch the narrative to, oh, it's just black people. Oh, it's just black people. Because it's not. It really is not. And so that's one of the things I was really thinking about, and I said it's a good thing that it was a majority white crowd out there, because it needs to be seen that white people are great benefactors of DEI. Many. We know many white women were the biggest recipients of DEI, but they don't show that. They make the narrative, oh, it's black people, it's black this, it's black that. Black people only going to school because of DEI. It's not true. It's not true at all. Most black people have to work 2, 3, and 4 times harder than the average white person, just to get in college and just to make it and just to get that job. And we already know that, because again, that goes back to the history of America. But it's that narrative that is pushed, and the narrative needs to change. And it's something that we all seen with our eyes when we saw these huge, massive crowds. We saw again that they were fighting for their rights and their Social Security and their whatever other benefits, and their 401ks that's getting demolished by all these Trump tariffs and everything. But at the end of the day, it's putting a different face on it. And again, as these protests continue to grow, probably this summer again, because I've seen a whole lot of people talking about stuff that's about to pop off this summer. So hopefully the narrative will begin to change, and we'll see the faces of those who are getting it. And I'm going to be honest, many of them are getting it more than black people. Many of them are getting it more than black people. There's a lot of things I have been learning about just in America, with just this whole flip of the script with with Trump being in office. I never knew how many subsidies and so forth that white farmers get. I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know that black farmers didn't get any. Like, that's crazy as hell. but they're surviving, they're making it, they're doing it on their own, they're pushing through like we have always had to do in this country. And, personally, just sidebar about that, I've really been trying to find a way that I can locally that I can support my local black farmers. I really am. I've been looking them up and trying to figure out, uh, how I can order their fruits and vegetables and so forth, and just what I can do to support our black farmers. But yeah, it's just amazing. But at the end of the day, we it's good for us to see the actual faces that are out there, the many elderly and disabled and children and so forth, who get these subsidies and need these subsidies. And I mean, despite all of that, rent too damn high, food too damn high, like everything is so freaking high. I don't look down on anybody getting any kind of subsidies. Last point I want to make. I have, I don't even know how it would keep on happening, but for some reason, the men that seem to be in my life and that I keep seeming to attract are veterans. But so I've dated a few veterans, um, and it's amazing to see not only them getting these big old fat veteran checks, the number of them that's getting food stamps and that's getting health care, of course, from the VA, you know, but these are technically like subsidies and so forth. And all of these men are not disabled with limbs missing and all, like, it's not that kind of party. But they are getting some big old fat subsidies. This one guy that I was dating, this dude lived in some apartments that are those apartments are so nice, they got a lake. They are so nice. And he knows how good he has it. He was literally bragging to me about how good he has it. And also, in case you don't know, there's a difference in the things that white veterans get and black veterans get. That's a whole nother video. But anyway, you guys, I just wanted to say that. I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that perspective of, hopefully, as we continue on and go on with more and more of these protests that I'm quite sure are going to be happening, hopefully the face of who needs these assistance and are getting these assistance will change, because it's not just black people. And I think it needs to happen. It needs to happen. We need to sit back and let others fight this fight. So you guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, please. And please hit all notifications so that you know when I upload new videos. You guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until the next video. See you next time.